everyone. Good morning for those who are watching us through the internet. It's a pleasure to have you all here today, especially here at TSS. Today is the Toronto Marathon, so there is a lot of roads closed. Public transportation is not running as usual. So thank you for those who made the effort to come today. Today, we are going to have a very special lecture from our friend Marcio. It is a bound of love and fraternity. A bound of love and fraternity unites all humans. The strongest help the weakest. But before that, we are going to have the initial reading and the initial prayer done by our friend Maria.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to read a passage from Happy Life. Be courteous in your movements and actions, and you will generate sympathy and friendship. Do not delegate to another what yourself can do. Just because someone works with you, it's no reason to burn him. Making demands on him that exceed his responsibilities. Even your employees deserve your consideration and respect. They cooperate with you and are paid. Do more than that. Make them your friends. There are small, tiresome tasks that you have them to do. You could do yourself without trying yourself or modifying them. In dealing with them, use the expressions please, thank you, very much. In this way, you educate them more and you spread affection wherever you go. So let's now close your eyes. Let's breathe in. And let's ask for the mentors of TSS to illuminate this lecture, help our friend Marcio to spread his knowledge, and help us to think during this week and all his words and all his knowledge. So be it.
All right. Thank everyone for having me here. You know, some old friends, some new friends. It's a blessing to be here again. For those who doesn't know me, I haven't been part of TSS for a while. Well, since we started here in 2010, I guess. But now I'm living in US and I have been participating on the online activities for TSS. My heart is still here. It's coming back here is like if I never left. So thank you very much for having me here. So today we're gonna talk about the bond of love and fraternity that unites us all, right? What that means. Why this is so important for us as spiritists, right? First of all, let's start talking about what fraternity means, right? Especially the word that in North America, it might have a different meaning when we think about the fraternity universities and colleges, right? And in spiritism, and by the way, these sentences are from the Spirits book. It's part of the introduction when I was doing my research on what I'm going to talk about. And I start searching about for the word fraternity. It brings this passage, and I thought that it was perfect to talk about and how fraternity and is part of spiritism and so important for us. So back to what I was saying, what fraternity means, and it means that we, as one single family, all united, all through love, we will help each other. We'll have mutual support, and at the end, we are all connected, right? We are all creation of the same God. We are all here with the same goal. which is progress as a spirit, right? And it doesn't matter if we are going through some hard times or if you're happy, we're all brothers and sisters. We are together on this. So as we think about spirituals, we're going to see how fraternity is part of and the most important, not the most important, one of the most important things to connect to everything else that we have in spirituals. Because as I said, we are here together. Now, I cannot progress and learn new things without everybody else around me, without my family, without my co-workers, right? Without friends in TSS, right? Um, there is some value for those that dedicate their lives to being prayers, it's isolated. They have their path to go that might be part of their evolution or the mission or what they need in this life. But most of us who's not isolated at all, we are all together, progressing together, and we need each other, right? So as we go through this, we need to be together as one family, and that's where fraternity start to make connections with spirituals. In the Spirits Book, Allan Kardec teach us that true fraternity implies selflessness and a renunciation of personality. So that's again the Spirit's book. And what that means, that with fraternity, we do everything to help other people, another person, without expecting anything in return. Right? So we do it with an open heart. We do it because we want that other person to grow with us. We want that other person to be happy, regardless of what we are going through, right? Because uh, everybody's going something. No one in this earth is completely happy, right? We know that we are in a planet of trials and expiations. So we are going through this difficulties, every single one. No matter if we live here in Canada, in US, in Europe, with very good lifestyle comparing to other people in Latin America, India, Africa, right? Everybody has their own challenge. Every person has their own challenge to go through. So it doesn't make it more one person need more than the other to in this life because you're all maybe materially, yeah, they might need something else, but emotionally we are all going through that. Progressing as spirits, we're all going through that in the same way, right? So why this bond of fraternity is so important? Because we are all under the same laws. If we go back to the Spirits Book, Part 3, we have all the natural laws there for us to follow, to understand, and make part of our lives, right? As part of those laws, we're gonna see that it's important for us to help those that are weakest than us. And when we say that, it's not that we we have to be stronger than everybody else. There is always someone that needs something that we have. The same way that we have something that we need from someone else, right? We are all different. We all learn different things through life, experience different things. And sometimes we learn a lesson, maybe not in even this life, a previous life, right? We learn a lesson that we could teach someone else. The same way that we are here to trials and exhibition. We have things to learn that someone else can teach us. So when we put that in perspective, it's not that Kat and I are gonna born together as brothers and she has things to teach me, I have things to teach her, and that's it. If it was that simple, it would be much easier for us to um, to live in one small community of spirits in one planet, right? But no, I might need to learn something with Kata, but then Tanya needs to learn from Kata, not me. I will learn from Elias. And all that, everybody kind of connects to each other in that way that we might not need to learn exactly from the other person. And I go back to what we were saying, that we do it without expect anything in return. Because many times, if I do something to Denise, I would expect her to do something for me later. But what I need, maybe it's not Denise who will be able to give me that in return, right? So that's how, why this fraternity as a humanity is so important. That we keep that in our minds, that we are all together, and not as my family here or my community, my religion, my um, um, country, right? We are all together on this. And Kardec, again, in the Genesis, he tells us that only moral progress can assure people of happiness on the earth by restraining evil passions. It alone can enable harmony, peace, and fraternity to reign. So what Kardec is bringing here to us is that it's not, when we talk about progress, we're not talking about the material progress, which are doing a very good job, right? With all the technology that we have today, how much we evolved on medicine and other stuff, right? We are doing a good job there, but the moral progress is what really matters. Because at the end, when we disincarnate, what do we take with us? When we disincarnate, it's all the moral things that we learn that we are taking with us, right? This computer will stay here if I disincarnate. I'm not taking it with me, right? So what really matters is what we can give and how can we progress together morally to make this planet better. Okay, so we need to keep that in mind, that as we progress morally, everything will transform around us, right? We don't need to wait for 10,000 different lives to be able to see that progress around us. As we start seeing it, we will notice that things will get much more um, clear for us on what's what happiness really means. Not that we're gonna not suffer at all, we're just gonna learn how to suffer. And that's one thing, that one of the beautiful lessons that we have in the gospel according to spirituals is not about not suffering at all. It's how we're gonna suffer, you know. And the way for us to suffer is having faith, understanding why we are going through that, right? Learning from that, and not only, oh my God, my life is horrible, what I'm doing here, what I did to deserve that. It's all about we learning how to deal with that. And that will, we're going to start feeling that, you know, the problems around us, the storms of life, it's not that hard. It is hard. Don't get me wrong, it's not that hard. Otherwise, if it was to be easy, right, maybe we not need so many incarnations. It will be like two, three, four, and then that's it. We're gonna be there next to Jesus, enjoying a good life, right? So that's why we have long time, a lot of different incarnations to go through. So if we put that in our lives today, you know, we go to many different trials, and could be financial difficulties or health, or many here I see moving to Canada, we know how hard it is to get through that process, right? But with this teachings of spirituals, that we're never alone, and doesn't matter if I might not have anyone that are familiar to me in this moment around me, but I know, we know as spirituals that there's spirits around us, supporting us, helping us. So we are never alone. And when we think about fraternity and this family that we are part of, we always need to remember that's not the incarnated ones only. We have the discarnated ones. So the ones that are there in the spiritual world that we might not be seeing, well, I don't see anything, so I don't see them, but I know they're there. And that's what we need to take also from this, that we are not alone. We are never alone. We do have the support of the spiritual world to help us to go through the challenges. So this fraternity extends to what happens in the spiritual world. And the mediumistic meetings is one of the examples, right? I'm part of the Thursday studies with Denise and Kata. We talk a lot about this, right? The mediumistic meetings is nothing else. The exchange between the spiritual world and our world to help each other. No, it's not them helping us. It's not only them helping us. It's also us helping the spirits that come in the spiritual world, asking for help. Right? Those that participated in a mediumistic meeting, all that we're exchange that for the both worlds, from incarnated, discarnated ones. Right? And also in the Gospel according to Spiritus, it reminds us that charity, which is the most beautiful expression of fraternity. If you think about it, charity cannot happen if we are not fraternal. Because fraternal, as I said in the beginning, is doing something to another person without expecting anything in return. And that's what we learn from the spiritists, right? That charity, when you do it without expecting anything in return. So you cannot do charity if you're not have this fraternity feeling inside you, right? So one thing comes with the other. And the spiritism also help us to understand that when we think about charity, it's not only about the physical things, the material things, the financial things, right? It is important, yes. There's a lot of people in need of material things, but that's not the only way for us to help, right? A simple act of kindness or listening to a friend who needs something, right? Spiritual, imagistic meeting again. There's nothing material there. Everything is about listening, exchanging, and learning with each other. Right? These are also other ways to strengthen these bonds of love and fraternity that unite us all. Right? So it's important to keep that in mind that fraternity, charity goes beyond the material things. And when we practice fraternity that way, when we are helping others, we are also helping ourselves, right? And the Medium's book says, moral progress will break down the barriers that separate peoples and will bring down class prejudice and silence and antagonism between sects, teaching people to regard one another as brothers and sisters who are called to mutually help one another and not live at one another's expense. So as we progress morally, as we see more ourselves as brothers and sisters, everything there is a barrier between us, a border between us, country, religion, gender, whatever is separating us, we start to putting that aside and forgetting that, because we're gonna see more and more each other as brothers and sisters, creations of the same God, because that's where we are. At the end, we are all equal. We are all the same, with the same goal, which is get back to our Father, right? Get closer to God, be closer to Jesus. That's super important for us to keep in mind, to break those barriers that separate us from our brothers and sisters. More and more, we need to find the ways to do that. And the world that we live today, the way that we are educated, we are raised the way that our society um, is being uh, managing things, we can see that it's part of our cultures to have that, protecting. I mean, this country going to protect my country. This family going to protect my family. This religion protect people from my religion. But and that's kind of something that we still see in this planet. But we need to start going beyond it. I had a conversation with a friend the other day about one particular religion, and I was sharing my prejudice against that religion in particular, and the person said, "No, no, no, you're wrong. They do this, 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 and this." Ooh. So, Marcy, we need to work on that. It's always important to keep ourselves in check on our own bias against the others, and start looking at that and say, no, this is wrong, Marcy. You need to stop thinking that way. So we had that conversation. It was very eye-opening for me on, oh, Marcy, you have something there to work on, right? So we have our own barriers. We grow up learning about that. It's beautiful to see also the new generations. I see my nephews, my niece, and their friends. Because of the way that we have been teaching at schools and even workplaces, I'm sure you guys all have learned something at workplace about bias and supporting others, etc. These kids are coming stronger with that feeling of fraternity, of that less barrier, understand better, because the world is a little bit better in that sense than I was a kid, at least. Um, I might look young, but I'm not. Got that. So we need to keep that in mind. Fraternity goes beyond any barrier that we might have internally, and we need to start break those barriers inside us. Right. Now, what means that the strongest help the weakest? So we talk a little bit about that, right? That is doing things to help those in need, materially or just a word, etc. But it goes also a little bit beyond that. Is where connecting to fraternity is that we do that without being sorry for the person, without have pity for them or saying, oh, poor thing, I'm gonna help because this person needs it. It's not just help for helping it, because inside us we know that that's the right thing to do, and we look to the other person as an equal. It's very important that we start looking to each other as equals, and not this person needs my help. But then it's not about the person, it's not about fraternity, but it's about me, because I need your help. So when we think about we're gonna help the weakest, we always need to look at that as an equal. We need to do that because we believe that person deserve to be happy as much as I do, deserve to get progress in life, mature and spiritually, morally, as much as I. So we share what we have and we help others because we understand that we are all the same here, right? And it might be, when we are going to some difficulties in life, we might feel like, I'm going through this right now, I I don't know how can I help others with everything that's going on in my life, right? But that's not always true, you know. We we always have something to do. Some people might have more physical, material wealth to share. Other people might have more, in their hearts to share. So, and many times we can see wealth people going through struggles in life and not being happy, while the other people, poor people, might be struggling materially but they're smiling, they are happy. You feel in their energy is different. So when we put those two together, they can help each other. And that's one of the beautiful things that we learn from spirituals, that as we are connected, we need each other. A person doesn't born rich just because. A person doesn't born poor just because, right? Everything is a reason for that to happen, and we need to start finding that those opportunities to help each other and do it just because we love, just because we have this sense of fraternity. So in the Gospel according to Spirit, it says, the greatest service is the one that is done with the greatest amount of disinterest, without any expectation or repayment. So when we do, again, we already talk about that, but if we think about it, it's always doing it without expecting anything, just because we love each other, because we feel that we're part of a family. Not all families, I understand, it's not always like that, but most of the families, people are helping each other regardless. I fight with my brothers when I was a kid all the time. Even today, there are things that they do that I disagree. But if they need me, I'll be there, right? Why I cannot do the same thing for everybody else, right? Yes, we're born in a family. That is the family. That's the piece that we have to work harder than anything else. Everything start there. I'm not saying forget about your family, go and help everybody else. No, 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 no. Charity, fraternity, it starts with our own family, that group that we were born together, the family that we might have created with our partners, our kids, etc. So that those families are very, very, very important. But it's for us also to learn to how expand that feeling to the people around us, and at the end to the entire planet, right? So as we think about this, what I would love you to think is, what is the strengths that you have that you can give to other people? What is in your heart that you can give to other people? How can we practice this fraternity in your lives, right? And it might be act of kindness, checking on a neighbor, or smile to someone at work or a stranger. Maybe spend time volunteering in a charity organization that you like. Something that it's inside of you that you want to say, I'll go and do something else for my brothers and sisters around me. And let's not forget that as we navigate through life, we are all connected. There is a reason that each one of us are right now incarnated here, living in Toronto in this room, that we can learn from each other. There is a connection between us that it goes beyond just without no reason to be here. So keep that in mind as you pass through other people's life. Maybe someone will not be forever in your life, but if you have encountered that person, there is a reason for that, and let's make that meaningful. Many times, I'm sure there are people that pass in your life, and they will remember you for something that you said or you did, hopefully a good thing, that you not even realize that. I'm sure there are people that pass in your lives that you remember that person because of a particular thing that person said, and that person already forgot that happened. So let's keep these words from Genesis, the contact book Genesis, that said, fraternity must be the cornerstone of the new social order. So as we progress, fraternity will be more and more common, and that will be how we're going to live our lives in the future. And with that, I want to turn to the second part of my presentation that, as I was coming here, I asked if I could talk a little bit about an organization called Fraternity Without Borders. In particular, a project that if you can go to the next slide, please. A project in Madagascar, and that is very close to my heart. In 2019, I went there for the first time with the organization. I was volunteer for Cognitivo Borders doing some small things. And I was like, what else I can do? You know? And I went to Africa, to Madagascar. And there I had the opportunity to meet the Wagner, who is the founder of the organization. And one of the things, the first thing that he said to the group before we get to the project, we were still in a hotel in the capital of the city, the Madagascar, and he said, when you go to the project, don't look to the people there as they need something. Look at them as your brother. You know, I was not super clear about what he was talking about when he said that, until a couple of weeks ago when I was preparing this lecture, and then I connected what he's saying with fraternity, what it means in spiritualism, what that means, and how we as spirits, we are here together, and I shouldn't look anyone in that project as someone that, you know, I should be sorry for them. When we get to the product, the reality there is that it's a very, very, very poor country. Okay, the island it's very different. The south of the island from the north of the island. The north of the island, they have water there that changed completely from the south. And I remember going to one of the trips there, and I went to the south first, saw all that need of water and people hungry there, and they don't have anything to eat, anything to drink. And then I went to the north of the island. The project has a school there, supporting a school there, and the kids, to get into the classroom, they have to take their shoes off and wash their feet. Like, is this the same island? Is it in the same country? There's something wrong here, you know, because they have the water there. So it's very different between the two. And we are the project is in the south of the island, where we have a lot of kids, especially kids that doesn't have anything to eat. Okay, and that has creating a lot of malnutrition there. Go to the next slide, please. So some things that are happening there, in addition to the lack of food and water, is education. Kids, when we start the project there, one of the things that we notice is that kids are not going to school because they're looking for food, right? And if you don't have food, you don't have energy to go to school. So one of the things that we have been working on is on the education to help that community that more than 40% don't have access to it. Health is another problem there. They do not, basically don't have hospitals and doctors there. When we start having doctors there, it was people are walking hours, like 8 hours, because they knew that we are there, that we're gonna have a doctor there. So they would walk hours there to be with a doctor in the project. We thank God we for a while now, since I think 2019 or 18, we have a doctor there is living there, and I think it's the only project that we have a resident doctor there in the project in Africa. So we are blessed by that, because it's in the middle of nowhere. No one to go there because it's super hard to get there, and have a doctor living there. It's a blessing for us. And our clinic there is even better than the hospital. Oh, we had some doctors visit when I was there, and they visited the hospital, and the hospital has a chicken in the middle of the hospital. Like, what's going on here, right? Socially, they hit 80% of the population is in extreme social vulnerability. So they don't have water, they don't have food, they don't have work. It's really sad. It was what happened in there. Um, Thank God, since 2017, things are getting better in the village that we are part of, and we are trying to expand that to other villages too, which is helping them to get better. And environmentally, as I said, they don't have enough rain there, so there's no water, and they also now start to have the um, um, tempestade de areia. Sandstorm is there? Oh, thank you. Sandstorms there that is destroying the little bit that we are able to do there. So they have been using the wood and creating a huge problem for themselves doing that. So we are trying to help with some agricultural ways of doing things there, um, to reduce that and hopefully change a little bit the climate there. If we go to the next slide, very quickly about the project, we have approximately 3,000 kids that we are treating them, um, and 8,000 children that we provide food. We have now 14 what we call nutritional centers, and finally we were able to get a well there and some water. Patricky? Okay. And also we have a school now with this number that I have here. It's not right anymore. It's 600 kids that we have in the schools now. Thank God. The way that we do the schools at Fraternal Board is that every year we add one class. So the kids start with kindergarten, I think is the first year, and then go to grade 1, 2, 3. So we are creating a culture. It's not only creating a school with all the different years there, because the educational system there is still the way that we used to have 50 years ago. You know, very punitive. You know, kids are all sitting in chairs like we were as a kids, not how they are today, that they can have freedom to sit whatever they want. It's completely different systems, right? So we finally created a school there, and every year we add a new class with more human, let's say, way of teaching. And it's a challenge for us to create these schools because the teachers that are there, they're not prepared. So we have a group of teachers that go there and help these teachers to learn a little bit more how to do differently. If we go to the next slide, we are able to create 105 houses there. So we got a donation that we bought a land there, and we were able to create build this 105 houses. And with that, we also create what we call the workshops. The workshop was the way to help the adults as well to break that that cycle of poverty, because every time that we went there and I asked, how can we help you guys? And all they ask is for work, new work, a job, you know. And so we start thinking the different ways to help them with that on that area. Okay, back a little bit to go to the next slide. What is happening there? The malnutrition is the most common thing. And that in the yellow is the south of the island, where it's very very poor, and we have very bad situation in terms of malnutrition, and it's where we are helping the kids. And that's what we are trying to get more and more kids in the under the project, so we can feed them, and eventually they start going to school. They can, when they grow up, they can go to work, and then we change the situation there, right? So um, malnutrition is the key issue, and that's why our effort is mainly there. Now, why not do more schools? Why not do, because this is the root cause of the the crisis that we have there. Okay. Next slide is a little bit about the 14, almost 8,000 kids that we help with. If you see the food that we provide them, it's very basic, and it's not it's not even every day that they get the food. Depending on the center, they might have more or less meals happening in the month based on what we can afford. During COVID, we had um, some restrictions to get food there, so it was hard as everywhere in the world, right? So what we had to do in some case was reducing not the number of kids, but reduce the number of times that they had to eat. But at least we are able to give to all of them. Next slide is about the water that I mentioned already, right? Water is the basic thing for them to have. So more, it's really hard to get water there too. We, after I think 4 or 5 different tentatives, we finally got water in the project, and then we are giving that to the community there. So I haven't been working hard on that to provide water to them. In some cases, we even bought water to take them to the projects. Okay. Um, then in the next slides, we start seeing what's happening with the project and what we are doing there. If you see the kids, they are happier. We have other projects as well, but this in particular, it's nice to see the kids moving, changing their reality and not being hungry, not need to go to, not going to school because they need to work and find food. You know, the next slide we have pictures of them already smiling, playing, and it's a lot of kids. Each family there has 8, 9, 10 kids. Uh, we were talking with friends yesterday. I don't know how our friend can manage 3 kids. Right? Imagine this family with 8 kids. It's insane. And you get there, they all, the first thing that they ask is, what are your name? And then they keep repeating your name over and over and over. We have a doctor living there, and for 6 months, and he said every time that he went to a different village, he said a different name. So when they he was not hearing his name all the time, it's each village there is a different name that they are repeating there. But the kids are adorable. They love being around us and play with us. Next slide is the school that we are able to build. This number I think is from last year, 420. There, although the island is the south hemisphere, I don't know why they start the classes in September as well. So these numbers are before September. When we add a new grade there, this number 420 increases to 600. We do have capacity for more. We're just waiting the kids to get to the next grade to be ready. And to be honest, building the school is the easiest thing, right? Building that is easy. The hardest piece for us is to keep the kids enrolled. And the main reason that many of them go there is to get food. So when they get to the school, their uniforms that we provide, it stays at the class, at the school, and they change. They get there. The first thing that they do is take a shower, put in the uniform, have their breakfast. If I'm not mistaken, they have breakfast and lunch there. They have 2 meals per day, and then they go to school. So keep them there, keep the family understand that the importance of the education is another challenge, but their parents did not went to school, right? So it's not that they understand how different that will be in their lives. So keep them in the school is one of our biggest challenges, and as well to find good teachers and have the money to pay the teachers, because the infrastructure once it's ready, it's there, right? Next slide shows a little bit about the houses that they have there. It's very common. This very small house. There's nothing inside. It's like a tent, for camping, and they live there with that um, 8 kids. And with the donation that we got, we are able to create. If you go to the next slide, this house. We are now trying to get a replacement for this. If you see, it's all made of wood, and after years, it's getting it needs to be replaced. And we have a volunteer who went there and helped them to create bricks. So we are able now to make bricks, which employ people. And then the idea is with those bricks, we can replace this house from wood to bricks, to make it better for them. And the house is very simple. It's kind of 2 doors with 2 windows and 2 bedrooms. They do not have the culture of cooking inside or having a bathroom in the house. In this new, one of the volunteers that were there, they said, "Okay, why don't you?" They complain that they need to go to the bathroom outside the house in the middle of the night, and they are afraid to go there, blah blah blah. But when you say, "Look, let's put a bathroom here in your house," and now that we can do it with bricks, and it's no, we cannot have bathrooms. It's not good. Something bad will happen if we have a bathroom here. Okay, forget about the bathroom, but go to the bathroom. It's funny how different the culture is. The next slide shows a little bit about the sewing workshop, and this is one of my favorite ones, to be honest. That's why I put it here. We have others, but this is when I go to Africa, I always work with those people. Um, I'm more an older person than a kid person, so I work more with them than the kids, and they just love what they do. We have 10 workers there, 10 employees, and pretty much what they do is things for the project. Um, we are trying to generate more ways to sell what they do. If you see in the back of the room, I brought some things that was made there, um, because even if they produce some stuff, they might not have to anyone to sell because everybody else is the same situation, right? So Fertile Borders has been purchasing most of it, and putting them to work to the organization now with the uniforms and other stuff that we might need there in the project. And the same thing for the next one, the artisans, they do a few things for us. So I don't want to take too much more time. So next slide is how we can help. I'm going to Madagascar now in November. Me and my partner, we're gonna be there coordinating a caravan. We have 5 or 6 other volunteers coming with us, and we are searching for donations for the school. My partner works in the school, and he will be dedicated to that, working with the teachers and principals there. We are building a hair salon. We are hoping that can generate a little bit of income to a few families there. So we are searching, looking for donation as well for the hair salon. These 2 lists are an Amazon list. You go there, purchase. They're gonna be delivered in my house, and then we're gonna take with us. And we also want to build. We need a few furniture there, computers, and building houses there. So there is a link for a money donation. The donations are to will be being centralized in the U.S. Sustainable Borders, not the Canadian one. But you can do a donation in money too. Or you can become a sponsor. A sponsor for us is those that want to monthly donate to Sustainable Borders. You can, any amount is welcome. Just so you have an idea, with 25 cents, we buy one meal for a kid there. So with less than $10, we can have 30 meals for one kid. So again, any amount is welcome to help us to provide food for the kids. Okay. So once again, thank you so much. I appreciate being here at TSS. I appreciate being able to talk about Sustainable Borders.
Thank you, Martinho. Any questions?
I forgot to have questions.
You do. Any questions? Any comments? No? Not through the internet? Not through here? Go ahead.
Just you were saying about to provide meals twice a day. Where do you produce this food if it's not? I know you already are working with water, but still, where this food come from?
So the food we purchase usually come from the north of the island. So the roads are horrible there, but we got food in the south. And we had a nutritionist that went there, and she looked at what they have available and figured out what would be a good meal to help the kids to get out of the malnutrition. There is two kinds of meals that they have there. There is the meal for kids that is not under treatment, and they have another. Don't ask me the details because I don't understand. But the doctors there, or the nurses, that people that are prepared in the schools, in the hospital that we have, the clinic that we have there, they provide a formula that will be given to the kids, and they all produce it there. But usually come from the north of the island.
Because for now, they still don't have the capacity
To produce?
to have.
No. We are trying with the agriculture thing to create a few things to produce, but not having water and the sandstone, right?
Mhm.
Storms. It's being hard.
I saw the commentary about if you don't have water, it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
So it was in Africa, and very well, and they start to do the irrigation. So it's a possibility, but it's a lot.
Yeah, one of the challenges with that we had there is to educate people about, you need to take a bath eventually. And they always say, if I have to drink or cook, I'd rather do that than take a bath. So it's a cycle, right? They don't have water to eat, they don't have to drink or eat, and then all the dirty that they have there is causing other issues, health issues, and it's a crazy cycle that they go through. We are blessed in Canada.
Yeah.
I have a question. What would you say, because it's clear to us that there are many challenges that you face in Madagascar with developing and implementing this beautiful project. But what would you say from experience it's the biggest of them?
At the challenge,
Yes, the biggest challenge. Yeah.
the biggest challenge for them there, I think, is the water, because that everything is the lack of. When I went to the north of the island, that I saw that they have water. They have water they can plant in theirs on
Their
land here.
backyard.
Their backyard, yes, thank you. And so they can have a little bit of food, and then the kids might not need to go and might not need to go to work and can go to school. So I think that the lack of water that they have there is the biggest problem that they have.
And are there well, we see that like you're working on the project for like implementing water there, or like at least like trying to get some sort of supply of water there. At what point this project is now, and like what would be the short-term perspectives for that? Like what would be the next steps that
So-
you guys are working on?
The main objective for us is to have as much as possible kids getting the food. Everything that happens around is extra donation of someone when there to help. You know, someone thought, let's build 100 houses here because I didn't like these people living here. Okay, let's do it. Now, one of the most beautiful things, in my opinion, in this organization is that Wagner, he just let you do what your heart tells you to do. Right? When I met him 2019, I was asking, how can I help you? And he gave me back the question, what your heart tells you to do? I don't know, tell me what to do, because it's easier for us just to follow orders and say, this is what you need to do, go and do. So he leave us very open. Like, I love working with the adults on those sewing things. That when I'm there, that's where I spend most of my time. You know, I love working with the adults. I work with HR, human resource. So for me, it's natural to help people to figure out what they want to do for work, right? Other people might prefer to be at school working with the kids. So they let us do what is in our heart. But if I have to say what is the main thing for us is to provide the food, because we believe that once those kids have the food, everything else will happen naturally, right? They will be able to go to school. If they go to school, they will be able to find a job. You know, they will get out of that through that basic need, that is food.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
I'm curious, Marcel, talking about the bathroom, right? The sewage, the system.
There is no system.
How, because this can bring disease as well,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not like
Yeah, that's great, because when he mentioned that they were proposing to bring the bathroom in the house, and they say, no. I think the biggest concern are the diseases, because they know that like a bathroom can bring a lot of diseases. So that's why, no, I'm not going to bring the disease inside my house. Am I
Yeah.
wrong? Yeah, so that's why, yeah, there's no.
But they
storage
would
in my
they
room.
would do their needs anywhere, you know, anywhere. I remember being there in the camp and close to the clinic. A lady just, you know, put herself down and
Did her business.
did her business right there in front of. And nobody cares. Nobody cares. You know, that's how they live, and we need to respect and move on. You know,
there's no water to flush anyway.
No,
no.
And like, and the soil might be challenging to like, I don't know how I would say that in English, but like the fossa seca, right? Like the building the infrastructure of a fossa, like in the sand might be.
Yeah, they
Almost
did that.
impossible.
I don't know how. I
Oh,
don't
they did
understand
it?
But they
Oh,
did it.
that's
We
awesome.
created.
Yeah.
There is the bathrooms there, and we also have. We buy water, and there is a place for everybody that goes there. They are able to take a shower, wash their clothes. The families in that or houses that we build, they have their water. They receive water to wash their clothes and take a shower as well. And now water that we get there is even better. I know we have time.
okay, yeah, we have time.
I'll be here after, so I have
Exactly.
to answer any more questions you might have.
Exactly. So thank you very much, Marcia. Oops. So thank you for those who are watching us through the internet. The QR codes for the website and everything is in here. So feel free to access. If you guys have any further questions, send us, and we will direct to Marcia as well. Okay. So have a great Sunday, and see you next Sunday.